I'm back. Here's a second of my 3 videos for the day. I wanted to talk a bit about motivation because when you're working from home, that is everything. As I stated a couple times before, it's taken me 10 years for me to find not only an opportunity that works, but a system that I know that all I have to do is plug in my effort and I'm guaranteed success. Uh, but yeah, motivation was an important tool I picked up along the way. You have to do a lot of reading. As my title screen says, you have to continually stoke the fire um, of your motivation in order for you to see success, in order for you to stick it out through frustrating and bad times, as I mentioned in my last video, the computer blowing up. But yeah, it is a big key factor, and a lot of times it's the difference between success and failure. So, over the years, I have read a lot of motivational books. The one I want to speak on today is Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. Sorry, y'all. This is a book by somebody you may recognize, Napoleon Hill. He wrote Think and Grow Rich, which is also an excellent motivational book. But this book right here takes it a step further. Um, it allows you to see yourself, gives you the steps to see yourself in a successful role in your life. Now, the reason I bring this up because there's one story that has always stuck out to me, and not only because it's just the first story in the that Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone actually talk about, but it just shows a powerful struggle, and that no matter what's going on in your life or even the world around you, if you want success, if you desire it enough, you can have that. The story I'll be reading about is about Samuel B. Fuller, better known as S.B. Fuller. He founded the Fuller Products Corporation in a time that many other people were not even, where many people right here in the United States were destitute and penniless. S.B. Fuller was one of 7 children of a Negro tenant farmer in Louisiana. He started to work at the age of 5. By the time he was 9, he was driving mules. There was nothing unusual in this. The children of most tenant farmers went to work early. These families accepted poverty as their lot and asked for no better. Young Fuller was different from his friends in one way. He had a remarkable mother. His mother refused to accept this hand-to-mouth existence for her children, though it was all she had ever known. She knew there was something wrong with the fact that her family was barely getting along in a world of joy and plenty. She used to talk to her son about her dreams. "We shouldn't be poor, SB," she used to say. "And don't ever let me hear you say that it is God's will that we are poor. We are poor, not because of God. We are poor because Father has never developed a desire to become rich. No one in our family has developed a desire to be anything else. No one had developed a desire to become wealthy." And that's the key factor for S.B. Fuller. This idea became so deeply ingrained in Fuller's mind that it changed his whole life. He began to want to become rich. He kept his mind on the things he did want and off the things he didn't want. Now, I know you have friends that talk about what they want all day long, but usually, and follow these conversations, usually they'll follow it up with a whole bunch of but this, but that, if I get this, if I get that. S.B. Fuller did different. He only spoke and thought of the things that he wanted. He didn't think about obstacles, what was in his way, what was stopping him right then. He just knew what he wanted and that he was going to go after it. Thus, he developed a burning desire to become rich. The quickest way to make money, he decided, was to sell something. He chose soap. For 12 years, he sold it, door to door. Then he learned that the company which supplied him was going to be sold at auction. The firm price was $150,000. In 12 years of selling and setting aside every penny, he had saved $25,000. It was agreed that he would deposit his $25,000 and obtain the balance of $125,000 within a 10-day period. Written into the contract was the condition that if he did not raise the money, he would lose his deposit. That's another key fact. He went ahead because he had no other choice but to lose his money. But more on that as we get to know each other over the next 90 days. During his 12 years as a soap salesman, S.B. Fuller had gained the respect and admiration of many businessmen. He went to them now. He obtained money from personal friends, too, and from loan companies and investment groups. On the eve of the 10th day, he had raised $115,000. He was $10,000 short. I had exhausted every source of credit I knew, he recalls. It was late at night. In the darkness of my room, I knelt down and prayed. I asked God to lead me to a person who would let me have the $10,000 in time. I said to myself that I would drive down 61st Street until I saw the first light in a business establishment. I asked God to make light a sign indicating his answer. It was 11 o'clock at night when S.B. Fuller drove down Chicago's 61st Street. At last, after several blocks, he saw light in the contractor's office. He walked in. There, seated at his desk, tired from working late, sat a man whom Fuller knew slightly. Fuller realized that he would have to be bold. "Do you want to make $1,000?" asked Fuller straight out. The contractor was taken aback at the question. "Yes," he said, "of course." "Then make out a check for $10,000, and when I bring back the money, I'll bring back another $1,000 profit." Fuller recalls telling this man. He gave the contractor the names of the other people who had lent him money and explained in detail exactly what the business venture was. Before he left that night, S.B. Fuller had a check for $10,000 in his pocket. Subsequently, he obtained the controlling interest not only in that company that he had his eye on, but in 7 others, including 4 cosmetic companies, a hosiery company, a label company, and a newspaper. These companies became the conglomerate of Fuller Products. Now, the one thing I hate that's not in this book is that he did all this in 1929 as a black man. So, let that sit on you for a second. Son of a sharecropper, 2-3 steps out of slavery, basically. Jim Crow, he's sitting right in Times Square, so you know there's not many opportunities, or at least not any open opportunities at that time for black men. Also, like I said, they miss it in this book, but he did all this and made that conglomerate in 1929, the year of the stock crash. So, not only as a black man did he create a corporation, but he did it at a time when nobody had money. There's a handful of people that Napoleon Hill does talk about that made money during that same stock crash, but this one is the one that touches home for me because he already had 2 strikes against him, and this is a time when the world thought there was nothing left. It's stories like that that keep me going. It's stories like Will Sanders, who In 2011, when he first helped to found this company, Daily Money Team, he's living on his friends and his wife's couch. He's working at Subway. And no, I bet you he didn't see Jared either. But his very next week, he made $1,240 the next week after he started. A year to the day after he started, he was able to buy a Mercedes truck cash. Look at Brent. Look at Brent. He started about the same way, working at Best Buy in college. You know, don't nobody have money in college. Come on now. After finding this system, founding this system that worked and putting it to work for him, he was also making thousands, 2,000s in his second and third weeks at this. And now he's at the point where all he has to do, he only has to lift one finger to make his money, and that's that good cash out button. If there are stories like Brent Miller, like Will Sanders, like S.B. Fuller, then why can't I succeed? Or better yet, far better question, why can't you? Can't come up with a good response? You need to be calling me. Look forward to hearing from you.